Hi guys, I'm back to do my second look back on Deathly Hallows Part 2 review. If you may remember, I did a review immediately after I saw the advanced screening back like last Tuesday, and I was just like not really all that happy. And to try to be fair to it, I said, I'm gonna watch it a second time at the midnight release, and then see if my feelings have changed at all. I saw the midnight release. That was Friday morning. I know it's now Monday, but I've had work and a wedding to go to this weekend, so I just have not had any time. There will be spoilers again in this review, probably more specific than last time. So if you haven't seen the movie already, hurry up and go out and see it so you don't ruin things for yourself, or just don't watch the video. Yeah, okay, so I saw it at the minute release with a couple cousins and my younger sister, who they're all also fans of the movies. Well, my sister not so much, but she really liked DH1. None of them has actually read the books because none of them are really big readers. I'm the only one in the family, and out of most of my friends too, really, who actually reads anything, let alone Harry Potter. And what did I think this time? Well, I do have to say I have mellowed out quite a bit. My feelings of like shock, anger, betrayal, disappointment have they've mellowed out. Not totally gone, but I feel much more at peace with the film than I did before. I still have some problems with it, but I have not liked really any of the movies on my first viewing, with the exception of Deathly Hallows Part 1 for some weird reason. Yeah, on the first viewing, I just had so many like purist thoughts kept intruding into my mind and not letting me really make an objective opinion, because I just kept thinking, well, this was changed from the book and this was blah blah blah. Deathly Hallows Part 1 was the only one where I did not do that. Well, I did to a minimal extent, but it was no big deal. So that's why I think I was expecting for Part 2 to feel the same way, because it's two halves of the same movie. So I thought I was gonna have the same, kind of reaction to it, and I didn't. And it was, my own expectations and all of that, which kind of were in play in making it a letdown for me more than anything else. But yeah, to go back to the movie itself, it is not my favorite movie, and I think that's going to be so hard to do, because that Deathly Hallows is my favorite book, and that is like my favorite part of the book. The whole Hogwarts part is just incredible and has so much like mind-blowing stuff going on that it's going to be hard to top that. I mean, you can never get the level of detail that's in a book in a film. I mean, you just can't do it. It would be way too long and boring, and a lot of people criticize Deathly Hallows Part 1 for saying that it's draggy and slow or anything. I really didn't think so. I think they really did the right thing in letting the story breathe the way they did, and in staying true to the book in a lot of things. I really commend it for that, and I think it's always going to be my favorite Harry Potter movie from now on. DH2 just couldn't top it. Yeah, so this film. My main problem with it, I think it just felt too rushed. It was the shortest one in the series, and it really didn't need to be, because it didn't feel long. They could have added like an extra 20 minutes or so just to flesh it out a little bit and add in some key things that I feel were missing or lacking, and they didn't do that. I want a director's cut, and I doubt we're going to get it on the DVD. We're probably going to get some, a deleted scene special feature where you have to go back and, play it all individually, not actually added to the movie, because besides the first two, we didn't get that for any of the other movies, when I thought that would have been good too. No, we didn't get that. It felt like there was just more filmed, more stuff that was there that was cut out in the final edit, which really bothered me because there were glimpses of really good stuff going on, but it was just a glimpse. Everything was blink and you'll miss it. We have all of the big actors, or not even big, like minor actors from other movies coming back with the whole Order of the Phoenix, Dumbledore's Army, all of the teachers and all of that stuff, and it's just like you glimpse them on screen for a second and then they're gone. I almost feel like, what was the point? I know it's supposed to be Harry's story, but you brought everybody back. At least give them like a minute. Come on. A split second is not enough. Going into specific spoilers here, I thought the Order of the Phoenix. I wanted to see a little bit more dueling scenes with the characters we know. We get little hints and glimpses, and then during the battle scene that look really cool of, the recognizable characters, but then the camera cuts away, and when it's not focused on Harry and the trio, it's these like long shots of just basically see you masses of extras, and from far away that we have no idea who these people are. There's no emotional impact there at all. We see Mr. Weasley toss a spell out and Kingsley toss a spell out. We see, Lupin and Tonks, they do their thing in the trailer where they go to touch hands like this and they can't reach, and then that's really, I think Lupin has one line, but that's really all we get from them. The death scenes, I think, would have been more meaningful if we had a little bit more introduction to the characters beforehand. And I guess maybe people say, like, oh, it's supposed to be meant as to be one movie, watch it back to back and you'll get that in the beginning, but I don't know. I still feel like it was lacking. Like, the Weasley twins have one tiny scene on the rooftop, and Fred's only line in the movie is, yeah. That was it. And then you see him being, like, dropping his wand in one scene when Voldemort, like, calls off the battle, like, for a while. And, he wants Harry to go into the forest. You don't see him killed. You don't get that great scene, of him and Percy dueling and the joking bit, like, in the book, and all of a sudden, it was so disappointing. I mean, then how was he killed? He was still alive when we last see him, and Voldemort called off the battle. So, then how did he die? If there was no more fighting going on at that point, I don't understand. Did he, like, fall off the roof or something, tripped and fell down the stairs? I don't know. It was weird. That was lacking for me. Like, Percy Weasley, too. He's back in this. He doesn't say anything. All of it is, like, cameos that only the book readers and the hardcore fans would notice. I feel almost like it's pointless. They're sending checks out to these people for just basically being background extras. Another, death scene, Lupin and Tonks, like I said. In the book, it was also, you just get to see them on the floor. In this, they did have that nice, like, hand-touching moment. But maybe in the beginning, we could have had, Lupin visiting Shell Cottage and talking about his son being born, or talking to Lupin and Tonks. I think that would have been a big improvement, so it would have been more emotional. There's no mention of them having a kid until the Forest Again scene where Harry's like, oh, I didn't want you to die after you had your son. It's like, what son? There was a hint in the first part, DH1, before Moody cut her off, that Tonks was about to say, that she was pregnant, but the audience never actually heard that, so it's just kind of like, what is going on here? All of a sudden he has a kid. Wouldn't it have been more dramatic if we had actually heard about that in this actual movie? I don't know. That's what bothered me. My main thing is I wanted more. We just got little glimpses, and it was just not enough for me. Also to tie back into that, the character that I hinted at in the last review, I didn't name who was killed, changed from the book. It's Lavender Brown. She is definitely, I don't know if Greyback actually killed her in this, or he was just feasting on her already dead body, but, the trio sees him, like, Greyback, not transformed or anything, obviously, feeding off a person's neck, and, Hermione blasts away, and then we see Lavender, she's already dead on the ground. It's too late. Never brought up again. They're not like, oh my god, Ron's ex-girlfriend is dead. Oh, whatever, who cares? There was, I think, in the Great Hall, after the battle with, characters with the dead, bringing them in there. I think it is Lavender's dead body that Trelawney and Padma Patil are with. Then Trelawney says she's passed on. I don't know, because I didn't actually see the body, if that was supposed to be her or someone else. It's also weird Parvati was not in it for some reason. Maybe she was unavailable, but Padma was. Wait to that. And I just thought, like, they had to, maybe because the shock, they didn't have time to have a reaction, but I mean, come on. And even those two characters, like Padma and Trelawney, just seem mildly disappointed. If that was supposed to be Lavender, like, would it, no crying or really upset looks? I don't know. It's just like, oh, that is sad, isn't it? No big deal. We'll get over it. Not enough. That's what I feel like is my main complaint in the movie. Is I keep thinking not enough, and I guess a lot of that is judging it by the movie it could have been rather than what it was, but I can't, the two tie into each other. I can't help but judge also from what could have been, because what was there is not enough for me. It is not sufficient, and it is lacking. Going back to the dueling scenes, probably the one that got the most cheers in the theater would be the Molly versus Bellatrix, which was cool in and of itself, but it was, again, over in the blink of an eye. My main problem with this is no one was watching. Everyone, at the time, they were all fighting in the book, and once, Molly takes on Bellatrix, all eyes are on them, like, oh my god, Mrs. Weasley's actually doing this, and afterwards it's an emotional moment where she, Molly goes and hugs her daughter, and it just relief. In this, she just kind of smiles, satisfied. No one was really watching or paying attention. It was done in the blink of an eye. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to really register an emotion over what had just happened, because they didn't give me a chance. It was, cut to the next thing. We also have kind of the same thing with the Harry and Voldemort duel, which in the book is really, it's just kind of a duel for show. Harry's just going through the motions. He knows Voldemort does not stand a chance. It's like one spell each and then it's done. Again, I felt like it was this long draggy thing where they go over the side of the castle, and Voldemort does his smoky things, so obviously he doesn't just fall to his death. Drawn out, and then with the wands colliding, and it doesn't stop until Neville kills the snake, because they moved the placement of that was changed till after. Once Neville kills the snake, Voldemort's wand goes over to Harry, and he dies. And he and I can't even talk. Voldemort and Bellatrix both turn into, they shatter into little pieces. And it kind of made sense with Bellatrix, because Molly put this spell on her. It was not the killing curse. It would make sense that she did that. And with Harry and Voldemort, it didn't seem like it was the killing curse rebounding, just that the wand did not work, and he blew up. Really, really weird. I liked better how it was in the book that his body was just tossed on the floor like he was nothing, not some big dramatic thing. And I'm still unsure as to what actually killed him. A little bit weird. But yeah, during that whole long drawn out thing with the wands colliding and basically waiting for, until Neville killed the snake for Voldemort to actually be able to die. I kept getting reminded of Dragon Ball Z, actually, when they have the long episodes of the characters just blasting each other and nothing really happening, just basically filler of that going on. That, oh my god, the Harry and Voldemort, I'm like, oh my god, it is Dragon Ball Z. And again, as with the Molly and Bellatrix thing, no one was watching. It was outside by themselves, no audience. So therefore there was no just celebration and cheers from everybody afterwards that Harry has done it, and they're all just so relieved and happy that the Dark Lord is gone and they're going to be safe. It was Harry walks inside after, and everyone's kind of chilling out in the Great Hall. I'm like, where's the reaction? Oh, no one saw. Okay. So I definitely would have changed both of those scenes, and I would have added, just maybe 5 minutes total of the actual, the well-known actors dueling a little bit, just giving them a little bit more screen time. That way they're actually in the movie for a purpose. One weird thing that bothered me that I'm surprised like the filmmakers did not catch, like are they blind, is young Lily Potter or Lily Evans' eye color. As you know, in the book, Harry has green eyes like his mom. In the movie, Dan Radcliffe has blue eyes, which is no big deal because all that matters is not really the color, but that they are his mother's eyes. And you can't really tell what the older Lily Potter's eye color is. It's kind of similar light color. But in The Prince's Tale, when we see young Lily, she has very clearly dark brown eyes. Is Snape colorblind that he says he has his mother's eyes? They don't look anything alike. I thought that was funny. Another complaint is at the end, they changed the ending, and Harry does not repair his wand, the Holly and Phoenix Feather wand. He instead snaps the Elder Wand in half and throws it into the Black Lake. Why did he do that? Is he going to use Malfoy's wand for the rest of his life? I don't know. I thought that was weird. They couldn't have put in him, fixing his wand first and saying, this is all I want with it. I don't need the other wand. Something like that. That was disappointing to me so much. I know it's not a major plot point, but I really liked that touch. Whatever. I guess they thought it was more cinematic to have him break it. That's what a lot of my problems I feel like is that they change stuff to make it more Hollywood and cinematically impressive rather than I guess I should probably talk about things that I did like. I I'm actually I thought, well, Matt Lewis I thought was really good in it. I did like a lot of the stuff that we got, but it didn't feel complete to me, which is why the finished product I was disappointed with, but a lot of the bits it seemed like really good, maybe as a rough draft that needed to be expanded upon for me. I liked The Prince's Tale, how that was done. I have a few quibbles though, such as young James Potter not having glasses and not looking anything like Harry at all. I liked the forest again scene. I thought that was really nice, but again, the whole Lupin thing didn't really have the same effect when Harry says, about his son, being parentless now, when we had never heard anything about this before in the movies. No drama there, no real sadness, because everyone's just left scratching their head saying, like, when did he have a kid? Rather than be like, oh, this is so heartbreaking. I liked the epilogue, like the whole feel of it. I think they should have kept in a little bit more dialogue from the book and had the other characters. It was mainly just Harry and Albus Severus talking. I feel Ginny, I don't even know if she said anything. She was so pointless even being there. They should have done a little bit more. Like Ginny reassures Harry at the end of the book, like he'll be all right. Harry says, I know he will. I wish they had kept that and just showed a little bit of their relationship because, again, in this movie, as in all the other movies, it was a total fail how the Harry-Ginny relationship played out. It did not work at all. I liked the ride on the cart through Gringotts. That was really cool. I think it would be neat if they added that as a new ride at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I would definitely go back to ride on that, even though I don't like roller coasters. The special effects were really good. The acting was really good. Matt Lewis was awesome. I like kind of some of the throwbacks to the earlier movies. We get to see some like the Pixies in the Room of Requirement, from the second movie. We hear a lot more of Hedwig's theme than we have in the later movies. That kind of fell by the wayside, and we got a lot of that again. It was really nostalgic. Back, going back into the Chamber of Secrets, all of using the Marauders map. They finally used the invisibility cloak again when they didn't use it at all in part 1 for some weird reason. All of that kind of stuff just made me, it was a warm, like, nostalgic feeling to reminisce about, the days gone by and all of that. I liked those tie-ins. I liked how the Ron and Hermione's romance played out on screen, even though all of the other relationships in the movies have really fell flat, especially Harry and Ginny, and then the totally random Neville and Luna thing that was just out of nowhere thrown in, served no purpose whatsoever, just totally awkward, and the Lupin and Tonks thing that it was never really introduced, and I didn't really care about it much in the book. It was just kind of there, but it didn't really have much of an impact on me in this either, so I guess that's not much of a difference. Going back to talking about Ron and Hermione as characters, I really liked how in part 1, finally, Steve Kloves was giving Ron some actual real character moments instead of just comic relief. Because since the third movie, he has basically just had super Hermione and dumb Ron. And, even Harry kind of falls back behind Hermione in the movies in terms of her coming up with all of the ideas and her knowing everything and the other guys being lost without her. And that's actually kind of true to an extent in the book. He didn't pull it out of his ass, pardon my French, but it was really exaggerated upon in the movies. Just, it was ridiculous to me, I thought. In this one, he started kind of doing that again, where having Hermione step up to the forefront and Ron, staying back in the background. Anytime Harry would say something, Hermione would step up and talk to him, and Ron would just kind of stand there. Ron had a couple of moments which were good, but again, a lot of it was Hermione just stepping up and doing everything. Like, in this, after Harry sees the prince's tail, he goes and he tells Ron and Hermione that he is going in the forest and that he has to die. And what was really weird is that he says, like, he thinks he's always known that, and he thinks Hermione has too, which is really bizarre because no, Harry did not know that. What are they talking about? No, Hermione did not know that. Like, what? And, it was really jarring that Miss Hermione goes up and is like, "Oh, I'll go with you, Harry," totally ignoring Ron. Like, he just stands there stupidly, and then Hermione and Harry hug, and then Harry just kind of looks at Ron. As far as Ron knows, this is the last time he's going to see his friend, as Harry is going to die. I don't like that they included this scene in the first place. But no, Ron and Harry hug? What? And they didn't, I was mad after the Silver Doe in part 1 that they didn't hug there, and instead Ron had, like, a stupid, comic relief line. But this bothered me so much even more. It's like, yeah, best friends, and Harry's gonna go die, I'll just stand here and watch and let Hermione do all the talking and everything. Come on, you don't think that Ron would have anything to say, or, want to also go hug Harry? That upset me. Again, I'm going into all these complaints, and almost everyone I know really loved the movie, but I have one of my friends who was also a book reader felt kind of the same way I did, that there was just not enough there, and also my sister and one cousin, all of us liked part 1 better. And is there anyone else I can think of among my friends? Not really, and mostly on the internet too. Everything is just love, love, love. Besides Renee on YouTube, was her username Nihomas 2. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's like the only YouTube review that I've seen so far that was also disappointed with it. So I mean, I do have one friend and two family members who agree, who were kind of underwhelmed. Actually, oh, my brother too absolutely hated it for the lack of character dueling in it. My sister said it was like the stupidest movie she's ever seen, and then my cousin was also underwhelmed, and we all thought part 1 was a better film. So maybe it runs in the family. I don't know. I have warmed up to it a little bit. Again, it's not going to be my favorite. It's always going to pale in comparison to the book, but I mean, all of the movies are, let's just be real. I really, really am hoping for a director's cut, but I am not going to expect it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be really, really nice. As for now, I think my rating, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Before, I think I rated it a 6 on its own merit and a 3 or so as a book adaptation, and I think even that was a little bit harsh. I would probably say a 6 as a book adaptation and a 7 on its own, but I'm just going to go with a solid 7 for an overall rating. And maybe in a few years' time, I will change and come around and end up loving it. But as for now, it is not my favorite Harry Potter movie by a long shot.